What's up guys, and welcome back to Whiteberg City Builds. Today you are joining me for part 3 of my Let's Build Walhampton series, and this episode is going to be all focused around the area of Passford. So Passford is made up of two places, Passford Water and Passford Way. Passford Water is what you're seeing on the screen right now with me building a canal docks in it, and Passford Way is the road that runs alongside this, over where that row of buildings is. The reason I'm doing this area is we're working our way towards the high street, which will be a monumental task to build. I've got so many ideas and reference pictures to build for that. You can see on my left and in the centre the last two episodes of our Let's Build. We got the Imperial Hotel and the Church Park. They worked out really well, and I loved those. I love those areas so much. And this time around we've got real life inspiration again for why I've been building these areas, and the first building itself is going to be known as the Castle Hotel and Pub. You may recognise that name if you've watched my Christmas episode of 5 Pubs of Walhampton, where me and Jamie wandered around and we tried to explore the interiors of each, 5 pubs in the town. And this here on screen now is the inspiration I took from Southampton. It is known as the White Star Hotel on Oxford Street near the original train station. And the reason I took the inspiration for this building from it is because I really like how it's got on one side a nice creamy yellowy brick, and on the front side facing the main road it's also got a red brick front with the white detailing and the white mouldings. I don't know what it was, but it just really struck me as an interesting looking building, a bit different, a bit eye-catching. And so that's why I latched onto it and went, this corner, one, it's on the same sort of corner, and two, it looks really nice, and it's going to be a nice feature for when people are coming into the canal dock. They'll look up and they'll go, that's an interesting looking building. It's yellow and it's white and it's red. Let's go have a drink in there. And also, you'll see later on when we get into the time-lapse, there is another detail on the roof, on the parapet. I believe they're called crenellations or something like that, where you've got this staggered sawtooth cut on the top, which is the whole reason I called it the castle, because it looks like a castle. You may not have actually been able to see that very well in the Christmas special if you did watch that, because it was very, very dark when we were wandering around town. I blame the shaders, but I also blame my own incompetence in not actually upping the brightness and contrast in post enough. I thought, this looks really good, this looks fine, but then I forget to remember that when you put something up onto YouTube, YouTube seems to darken everything for no apparent reason other than they don't like it being too light. So you may have been sort of sitting there going, can I turn the screen brightness up on my phone or whatever to watch it? So I am sorry about that, but you'll see here what the castle is actually meant to look like itself. And yes, so the other buildings along this road are going to be mainly residential, with another hotel at the end upon the avenue, and that'll be based on a place again from Southampton originally, and we'll get onto that in a bit. So guys, I'm going to jump into a little bit of a time lapse for this building, and I'll see you when we start planning out the residential buildings. Right, so that's the Castle Hotel and Pub complete. Now it's time to start planning out the terraced houses along Passford Way. So what I'm doing is I've seen this image of a place in Southampton called Queen's Park Terrace, and I believe it was bombed out during the Second World War, or it may have just been removed due to being in the way of development. You can see it on screen now. We've got these nice yellow stone buildings on the left hand side, a nice couple of red brick townhouses in the middle there, and then on the end you can see another yellow building, and that is a hotel called the Flowers Hotel. And we'll get on to building that at the end of this video. But right now what we're doing is we're going to be starting to replicate those yellow stone brick houses. At first I was like, okay, they look really simple and really under detailed. But what I've learned throughout doing this style and throughout building this town is flat, simple faces do actually look really good, as long as you put enough symmetry into it. So as long as you make it symmetrical and proportions feel right, you've really got a nice looking building with a flat face. During this construction, I was toying around with some ideas for a different construction for blocks. So the smooth sandstone was all right, but I went, let's see what this stripped birch log looks like. And instantly I went, oh no, that doesn't look great at all. I want to know what your guys' opinion is actually on stripped birch logs, and also any stripped log really, because they're a strange looking block. I find they look too flesh-like, if that makes any sense. So we're carrying on a theme from the first Let's Build, where we put these bay windows or bow windows in the front of these buildings. I've got a sort of technique to how I like to do those ones, and I think they really turn out quite well. We've got the doubling of the glass, which makes it look a bit thicker, which again then sort of makes it look like it's folded round a little bit. And this building is, I believe, 3 stories high, so we're going to put another window up here and then stack this one about with a bit of a roof on. What I've done this time, rather than actually have some first person footage, is I've gone into the replay mod and slowed down the time lapse a little bit, and we've got this nice little feature here. But now we're going to speed up the time lapse and get the other 3 buildings complete. The roof again is a nice shallow slate roof, and you see a little alleyway down the side here. I get rid of that in a second because I don't particularly want too many alleyways along a terraced road. You got to sort of have the houses packed tightly together. And my signature here is obviously throwing up loads of leaves around the front, leaves and bushes, because that just helps with the detailing. So you may be wondering, why am I actually recreating these buildings? And the answer is because I want to show more people that these buildings once existed, and also, just to try and keep the idea alive that Southampton as a town looks very modernised these days. It lost a lot of its character after the war and after successive sort of rebuilding schemes, and the high street and the areas around the docks and the old town have all become quite rejuvenised, revitalised, but modernised is the correct term for it, and they lost a lot of their traditional buildings, especially ones like these nice red brick townhouses. And I just wanted to sort of take these images that I get. I follow a group on Facebook who share a lot of these, I believe it's called Southampton Heritage Photos or something like that. They share a lot of these pictures, and I see them, they give me so much inspiration, and I share them with you guys on Twitter as well to give you inspiration. But the idea that these buildings have now been lost forever, and all that's left are 100-year-old pictures of them, it makes me go, right, I need to just add them into this town, because why not? They look good. They would translate into Minecraft quite well. Let's do it. You can see here I'm building now the red brick ones. They're quite big actually, they're huge. These would have been really expensive, like maybe first or second rate buildings. I'm trying to remember the ordering of Georgian townhouses. And yeah, I just feel if they aren't built or recreated somewhere, then they are lost for future generations, because these images won't last forever. I know that Minecraft's just a game and this is just this, but this video now going onto YouTube means that someone will watch it and someone will go, oh, Queen's Park Terrace, I wonder where that was in Southampton, because there's a Queen's Park still with a statue in it and there's a terrace here, but those buildings don't look like they do now. So that was my thinking, and a lot of my thinking behind a lot of the buildings I choose. Now, this is the bit of the video where I would say, let's jump to a time lapse, but for some reason Replay messed up and I lost a lot of the footage. So unfortunately that was that. So that moves us nicely on to the next part of the video. Well, I wouldn't say nicely. It moves us on to the last building of Passford Way. You can see some yellow brick buildings in the background there. Now they are forming part of they are forming part of episode 4 of this series, which is Buckland Place. Now, Buckland Place is an area built around a monument that was given to me by Patrick, Nobby's Craft, I believe his name is on Minecraft, as a symbol of just respect, because I've allowed him to build in Brookwood. So, moving on to what this building is here, actually, this is the Flowers Hotel. You can see it in the top corner there, and this stood at the end of Queen's Park Terrace. What I'm doing is I've turned it round 90 degrees because it won't actually fit in. I was trying to make the road wider, well, not the road wider, I was trying to widen the gap in the plot to build it round the other way, but then I realised it wouldn't fit. And so what I've done is I've turned it 90 degrees and flipped it as well. And so we're going to have an interesting looking building, and this is something I do quite a lot with my builds. I look at the real life building and I sort of go, right, I'm going to build that, but I'm also going to change it up quite a bit. And while building this building, I discovered that having windows of one wide on the bay didn't really work. It didn't sit well with the upper floors. So I've jiggery pokered it around a little bit, and we've got a better looking building. But yeah, Passford Way, it took me about a month, maybe even longer, to actually get around to building it properly. I kept stalling, I kept going off and doing other things and trying different projects. So you're going to see a lot of random buildings appear in the backgrounds of these, and especially when we get to the cinematic at the back of the video. But anyway, this is this came out really well, and I shared it on Instagram and I shared it on Twitter, and a lot of people loved it. And to me, I thought it looked pretty plain, but plain again doesn't mean bad. So if you are building something with a wall that is just flat, then you can always just jazz it up a little bit with a bay window or something else. Anyway, we're coming onto the roof and the final part of this building. You can see there I've speckled the walls with some quartz as well. This was just to add another touch of maybe paint or plaster on the back that's worn away over time. I did remove it later on actually because I thought it looked a little bit overpowering, but still it worked quite well for what I was trying to do. So anyway guys, we're coming on to the end of the video now. I just want to say thank you for watching, thank you for sticking through my ramblings about buildings for 10 minutes. But I really enjoy making these because they're a nice little way to capture a snapshot of what I've done. So I'm going to leave you guys with a little cinematic at the end, and I will see you all next time.